Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, born August 31, 1985, is the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia. He also serves as the Chairman of the Council of Economic and Development Affairs and the Council of Political and Security Affairs. Before becoming Prime Minister, he was the Minister of Defense of Saudi Arabia from 2015 to 2022. Mohammed bin Salman is the seventh son of Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud and is seen to wield control over his father's government, widely regarded as the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia. After studying law at King Saud University in Riyadh, Mohammed bin Salman quickly rose through the ranks of power, largely due to his 81-year-old father. In 2009, when King Salman was the governor of Riyadh, Mohammed bin Salman was appointed as his special advisor. After his father became Crown Prince in 2012, Mohammed bin Salman took over as head of the Crown Prince's court. In 2015, after his father ascended to the throne, he became Minister of State and Chairman of the Council for Development and Economic Affairs, a position that gave him control over Saudi Arabia's national oil company, Aramco. Bin Salman views true Islam as a moderate and multicultural religion that is open to all faiths, cultures, and beliefs of the world's people. He considers gender segregation to be contrary to the tradition of the Prophet's community, where men and women participated in social activities together. In 2016, through the Saudi Consultative Assembly, he reduced the powers of the Committee for the Promotion of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice, only allowing them to advise individuals, and if the violation continues, to report them to the police. With Saudi Vision 2030, bin Salman aims to wean the country off its dependence on oil revenue and transform it into a country with a sustainable economy by increasing non-oil exports, attracting investment, creating jobs, and utilizing its strategic geographical location as a bridge between three continents. Early life Mohammed bin Salman was born in Jeddah on August 31, 1985. His mother is Fahda bint Fala bin Sultan al-Hathlin al-Ajmi, and his father is King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. He is the eldest son of King Salman from his third wife. From 2009, Mohammed bin Salman began his governmental activities at the local level in Riyadh and was appointed as advisor to the central government and advisor to the then Crown Prince, his father, in 2011 and 2012 respectively. Rise to Power Ministry of Defense. On January 23, 2015, King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz passed away, and Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud became king. In the same year, Mohammed bin Salman was appointed as Minister of Defense. He was subsequently given the positions of Deputy Crown Prince and Second Deputy Prime Minister. During this period, he traveled to various countries and met with leaders of important nations such as Donald Trump in the United States and Vladimir Putin in Russia. Operation Decisive Storm, part of Saudi Arabia's military intervention in Yemen against the Houthis, was the first major event during his tenure as Minister of Defense. The operation, which began in March 2015, eventually turned into a prolonged war that not only resulted in the deaths of thousands of civilians, but also destroyed much of Yemen's infrastructure. Crown Prince and Deputy Prime Minister. On June 21, 2017, King Salman bin Abdulaziz appointed Mohammed bin Salman as the new Crown Prince. On the same day, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, congratulated Mohammed bin Salman on his appointment as Crown Prince in a phone call, emphasizing the deepening of relations between the two countries. 2017 Purge. On November 4, 2017, Mohammed bin Salman ordered the arrest of more than 40 high-ranking Saudi officials, including the well-known billionaire Walid bin Talal, on charges of corruption and money laundering. This action was part of his efforts to combat corruption and rebuild the Saudi Arabian economy. Prime Minister on September 27, 2022, Mohammed bin Salman was appointed as Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia by his father. The role of religion. Mohammed bin Salman ascended to the position of Crown Prince at a time when a dynamic religious movement dominated all aspects of public life in Saudi Arabia. This dominance stemmed from the movement's absolute influence over education, culture, media, and the judiciary. The country was deeply committed to religion, a commitment that shaped the very nature of Saudi society and projected a distinct image different from the realities of that society. The Quran and Hadith. In an interview conducted on April 27, 2021, the 5th anniversary of the announcement of Vision 2030, Prince bin Salman stated that Saudi Arabia, in legal aspects, is bound to implement the provisions of the Quran and the Mutawatir Hadiths, narrations, and in the case of non-Mutawatir Hadiths, takes into consideration their credibility and pays absolutely no attention to akhbar, historical narratives, unless they serve a clear benefit for the people. He also said that, "We do not set any punishment except what is explicitly stated in the text of the Quran." He further explained that the government should not question people on matters for which God has not prescribed earthly punishment, stating that the Quran is the constitution of Saudi Arabia. The role of Wahhabism. In response to the question of whether interpretations of the Quran and Hadith used by the Saudi government would necessarily be issued by the school of Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab, he said that the government does not need to consider interpretations from only one school of jurisprudence or one scholar to implement the laws of Islam. He argued that doing so would sanctify a human being and close the door to ijtihad, independent reasoning, while God does not place a barrier between himself and the people. The concept of moderation. When asked about the concept of moderation on April 27, 2021, Mohammed bin Salman said, "The word moderation is very broad, and Muslim jurists have strived for over 1,000 years to define the concept of moderation." He emphasized that he did not have a simple explanation for the word, but to clarify its meaning, he stated, "It is adherence to the constitution of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is the Quran and the Sunnah which form its foundation, the system of government in Saudi Arabia, and its full application in a broad sense that encompasses all." Regarding the term moderate Islam, he said that using this term may please extremists and terrorists, as they might point out that Saudi Arabia and other countries that have adopted moderation are trying to turn Islam into something new. However, he clarified that it was actually a return to the roots of Islam. The true teachings of Islam, by which the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the 4 righteous caliphs lived, had open and peaceful societies in which Muslims lived alongside Christians and Jews. These teachings guided us to respect different cultures and religions. Combating religious extremism. Mohammed bin Salman has taken many measures to combat religious extremism in Saudi Arabia, aimed at ending the Sahwa movement in the country. Observers believe that extremism has decreased due to bin Salman's policies, aligning with what he believes are the true teachings of Islam. He says that he promotes a culture of intellectual pluralism and openness to all religions, traditions, and people of the world. The Sahwa movement was an Islamic intellectual, social, and political movement supported by a group of preachers emerging in the 1980s. According to bin Salman, the Sahwa was an abnormal situation that was imported into Saudi society from outside. Through control of the education system, it began to spread what he called a non-moderate version of Islam. During this time, Saudi Arabia was invaded by extremist groups. including the Muslim Brotherhood and the Iranian Revolution. Bin Salman, stating that Saudi society, especially the youth, has become a victim of the Sahwa, promised to liberate Saudi society by ending it. He said 70% of the people in Saudi Arabia are young men and women under 30 years old, and I say frankly, we will not waste 30 years to eliminate religious extremism. Rather, we will destroy them today and immediately. No country in the world accepts that an extremist group controls its education system. In an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes, he said, "We have been victims of religious extremism since 1979, and we want to return to the previous natural situation, like the Arab countries in the region, where women can drive and work everywhere and have cinemas." Extremists practice gender segregation, but this is contrary to the society of the Prophet of Islam. He said that both women and men should wear heavy clothing, but no one should force women to wear a specific type of clothing. They themselves will decide.
On April 30th, 2017, Mohammed bin Salman launched the Ideological Warfare Center of the Saudi Ministry of Defense to counter the roots of extremism and terrorism and to promote a culture of Islamic tolerance. On May 21st, 2017, King Salman inaugurated the Global Center for Combating Extremist Ideology in Riyadh, with the attendance of Donald Trump and a gathering of world leaders. This center helps the entire world by combating extremism intellectually through media and digitally, and by promoting the values of coexistence and tolerance among people globally in all languages. American officials have expressed strong interest in further Saudi actions to combat extremist and terrorist groups and have urged their Saudi counterparts to act more decisively in delegitimizing extremist religious ideology in Saudi Arabia. In 2020, he stated, "I promised in 2017 that we would eliminate religious extremism immediately. Within a year, we were able to destroy a 40-year-old ideological project. Extremism is no longer accepted and has been rejected in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi people have demonstrated their disgust for these ideas that came from abroad under the guise of religion." He added, "Hate speech is the main motivation for recruiting extremists, and they use freedom of expression and human rights as justification." While rejecting terrorist acts, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is also committed to combating the discourse of extremism. Islam criminalizes terrorism, prohibits bloodshed, and prohibits betrayal and the unjust killing of innocent people. We hope that the world will stop disrespecting religions and attacking religious and national symbols under the guise of freedom of expression, because this creates a suitable environment for the growth of extremism and terrorism. Asterisk, asterisk. Limiting the powers of the Committee for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, religious police. Mohammed bin Salman curtailed the role of the Committee for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, known for its arbitrariness and strictness towards women, and where many deaths have been recorded as a result of their patrols. Among these incidents was the death of 15 female students in a fire at a girls' school in Mecca on March 11, 2002. In this incident, the religious police prevented male firefighters and ambulances from entering the school under the pretext that they were not related to the girls. Also, in February 2016, the Ministry of Interior announced the arrest of members of this committee after an act of violence against a girl near a shopping center in Riyadh. The circulation of videos showing them chasing the girl and beating and dragging her while she was lying on the ground sparked widespread outrage on social media. Criminal and administrative control, detention, follow-up, prosecution, arrest, interrogation, identification, investigation, and apprehension were taken away from this committee and transferred to the police. Asterisk, asterisk, reforms, asterisk, 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 internal reforms, asterisk, asterisk, with the goal of developing the country's infrastructure and moving away from an oil-dependent economy. Mohammed bin Salman formulated Vision 2030. This document, the details of which were announced by the Crown Prince on April 25, 2016, includes 80 projects with costs ranging from $3.70 to $20 billion. Currently, oil and petroleum products make up about 76% of Saudi Arabia's exports, and chemical and petrochemical products, which are also oil-dependent, account for about 15%. Among the fundamental measures of Mohammed bin Salman's cultural and social reforms are allowing girls to participate in physical education classes in schools, allowing women to attend stadiums, initially under the guise of celebrating the anniversary of the founding of the Saudi state, issuing a royal decree granting women the right to drive, appointing Rima bint Bandar al Saud as the Saudi Arabian ministry's spokesperson in Washington, appointing a woman for the first time as deputy mayor for the Al-Khobar province, broadcasting music by a famous female Arab singer, allowing the import of alcoholic beverages into Saudi Arabia, lifting the ban on cinemas, women's right to drive ***. Saudi Arabia was the only country in the world where women were prohibited from driving. This ban was enforced by not issuing driver's licenses to women, although there was no explicit law in this regard. On April 16, 2016, in an interview with Bloomberg Businessweek, Mohammed bin Salman stated that there was no religious problem with women driving and that the prohibition stemmed from distortions of religious facts that prevented the women from attaining their full rights. The ban on women driving in Saudi Arabia was lifted on September 26, 2017, 3 months after bin Salman became crown prince, by a decree from King Salman. The first driver's license for a Saudi woman was issued on June 4, 2018. Abolition of the male guardianship system. The process of abolishing the male guardianship system over women was initiated by Mohammed bin Salman in 2016. In an interview with The Atlantic magazine on April 1, 2018, he said that before 1979, social customs were more flexible, and the guardianship laws in their current form did not exist. These laws were a collection of scattered regulations that were put in place from the late 1970s to restrict women, covering various areas of human rights, including health, education, work, marriage, judiciary, movement, and travel. According to these laws, a woman could not handle her own affairs independently and needed a male guardian. These laws did not specify an age range for the woman or the male guardian, and even a young boy in the family could be considered a guardian for a woman. Bin Salman has stated that many of Saudi Arabia's religious extremist tendencies arose after 1979, following the Iranian Revolution. Regarding the compulsory wearing of hijab, he stated that both men and women should wear modest clothing, but no one should be forced to wear a specific type of clothing. The guardianship system in Saudi Arabia has been described as a Berlin Wall, in line with the implementation of Vision 2030, which includes improving the conditions of women and utilizing them in various fields for economic progress. The Saudi government has committed to equality between men and women, especially regarding rights, opportunities, and wages. The British newspaper, The Economist wrote on September 30, 2017, that these decisions demonstrate Mohammed bin Salman's desire to reduce the system of male guardianship over women and perhaps end it completely in Saudi Arabia. In an interview with CBS on March 16, 2018, bin Salman described those who defend the guardianship system and those who oppose gender mixing in the workplace as extremists, saying that their approach contradicts that of the Prophet of Islam and the Caliphs, where women and men actively participated in society. He also said that Saudi women would soon be allowed to be free in wearing the abaya, as there is no religious text stating that a woman's abaya or headscarf should be black. The Saudi government has enacted several laws and abolished a large part of the male guardianship system over women. These laws allow women to enter stadiums, theaters, and cinemas, guarantee the right to scholarships and study abroad, and to work in various fields, including diplomacy and holding high positions. In February 2019, Princess Rima bint Bandar was appointed as the Saudi ambassador to the United States, the first Saudi woman to achieve such a significant post in Saudi Arabia's history. On July 30, 2019, King Salman approved a series of other reforms. According to these reforms, which were published in the al-Qura newspaper on August 2, 2019, and came into force at the end of August of the same year, Saudi women obtained the right to obtain a passport, the right to travel after reaching the age of 21 without restriction or condition, the right to apply for the registration of their child's birth, the right to apply for a family record, and the right to be the head of their family. Educational reforms. On September 15, 2021, Mohammed bin Salman launched the Human Capacity Development Program, which is one of the programs for realizing Vision 2030 with the aim of reforming the educational system. This program includes 89 initiatives to achieve 16 strategic goals of Vision 2030 and is based on three main pillars: developing a solid and flexible educational foundation for all, preparing individuals for the future job market, helping to promote the values of moderation and tolerance, seriousness and perseverance, discipline, and self-mastery. The overall goal of this program is to achieve global citizenship values and enhance the competitiveness and capabilities of Saudi citizens. Asterisk, asterisk, reforming the judicial system. Asterisk, asterisk. Over the decades, the Saudi judiciary has faced criticism from human rights organizations due to slow judicial processes, ambiguity in the mechanisms for issuing rulings, and lack of enforcement guarantees. The absence of a comprehensive legal and Sharia-based system in the Saudi judiciary meant that judges would independently exercise their discretion before issuing rulings without considering established judicial precedents. This practice led to significant variations in the interpretation and issuance of judgments in similar cases. On February 8, 2021, Mohammed bin Salman stated that judicial rulings do not meet the needs and demands of society. Saudi Arabia has initiated an extensive human rights reform plan that reduces the powers of judges. The imposition of death sentences on individuals who were under 18 at the time of their offenses has been suspended. This suspension also includes perpetrators of terrorist crimes who had received definitive sentences against them. The punishment of flogging has been abolished, and there has been a decision to replace it with imprisonment, fines, or other alternative punishments based on regulations. On February 8, 2021, Mohammed bin Salman criticized the lack of a specialized legal system in the judiciary, stating, "The inconsistency of judgments and the lack of transparency in the rules governing procedures have prolonged the duration of trials, and in the absence of a clear legal framework, individuals and businesses face challenges in fulfilling their obligations." He added, "This issue is painful for many individuals and families, especially for women, and it has enabled some to evade their responsibilities." This led to the announcement of the initiation of the Specialized Legislative System project aimed at developing the legislative framework through the development and reform of rights-protecting systems, reinforcing principles of justice, transparency, and the protection of human rights, and achieving comprehensive development and global competitiveness through clear institutional references and objective procedures. Asterisk, asterisk, Specialized Legislative System. Asterisk, asterisk. According to statements by Mohammed bin Salman, the Specialized Legislative System includes 4 draft regulations that Saudi Arabia is preparing. 1. Personal status. 2. Civil transactions. 3. Criminal law for punitive sentences. 4. Evidence system. He stated, "A new wave of reforms will come that will enhance the predictability of judgments and improve the integrity and efficiency of the judicial system and reliability in procedures." Oversight mechanisms are a fundamental pillar for achieving principles of justice that presume transparency in the scope of responsibilities and limit individualism in issuing judgments. This legal system is committed to the latest legal trends and modern judicial practices internationally, provided they do not contradict Sharia rulings. At the same time, the country takes into consideration its commitments regarding international covenants and agreements to which it has acceded. On December 28, 2021, the Council of Ministers approved the evidence system. Under this system, the plaintiff must prove their claim, while the defendant can deny it. Verifiable facts related to the case are deemed constructively permissible, and the judge does not rule based on personal knowledge, but rather on evidence and reasoning. Asterisk, asterisk, Vision 2030. Asterisk, asterisk. On April 25, 2016, Mohammed bin Salman presented Vision 2030. This comprehensive economic, social, cultural, and political plan guarantees the country's successful transition into the post-oil era. Achieving Vision 2030 coincides with the completion of 80 major governmental projects, with costs ranging from 4 billion Saudi riyals to projects like the Riyadh Metro, which exceeds 100 billion Saudi riyals. This plan was prepared by the Council of Economic and Development Affairs and presented to the Saudi Council of Ministers, chaired by King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Following the announcement of the vision on June 7, 2016, Mohammed bin Salman introduced the National Transformation Program through the Council of Economic and Development Affairs. And on December 22, 2016, he introduced the Financial Balance Program, each being a key element of the vision, both of which were approved by the cabinet. The goal of Vision 2030 is to increase Saudi Arabia's non-oil revenues sixfold, from approximately $43.5 billion annually to $267 billion annually, and to raise non-oil exports from 16% of the GDP in 2016 to 50% by 2030. Mohammed bin Salman has identified 3 pillars for this vision. Asterisk, asterisk 1. Saudi Arabia is the depth of Arab and Islamic identity. Mecca and the Prophet's Mosque are the most sacred places for Muslims. It is the Qibla for over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide, and this fact should be at the center of the vision. Asterisk, asterisk 2. Saudi Arabia's huge investment capacities. These capacities should be an engine for the economy and an additional source of wealth. With these capabilities, the vision aims to transform the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia into a leading investment power. Asterisk, asterisk 3. Saudi Arabia's strategic geographic location. Its geographical location and waterways, the Strait of Hormuz in the east, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the southwest, the Suez Canal in the northwest, make the country the most important connecting hub between the 3 continents of Asia, Africa, and Europe. A 2021 report stated that the country's non-oil exports reached $100 billion in 2020, which represents a more than doubling in 4 years. Asterisk, asterisk. Authoritarianism, asterisk, asterisk. Mohammed bin Salman is at the head of a repressive authoritarian government in Saudi Arabia. Human rights and women's rights activists in Saudi Arabia regularly face abuse and torture by the government. Critics, journalists, and former insiders are tortured and killed. The government targets Saudi dissidents who live outside the country. The most famous of these was Jamal Khashoggi, a asterisk Washington Post asterisk columnist who was murdered by the government. Mohammed bin Salman has justified the mass arrests of human rights activists as necessary for implementing reforms in Saudi Arabia. During his leadership, Mohammed bin Salman has increasingly consolidated power in Saudi Arabia. He has significantly reduced the power of the Saudi Committee for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice. Asterisk, asterisk. Human rights asterisk, asterisk. Early in his leadership, Mohammed bin Salman sought to portray Saudi Arabia as a country implementing various reforms. Human rights groups say that repression has worsened under his tenure. According to these groups, arrests of human rights activists have increased under Mohammed bin Salman. It has been reported that he created the Tiger Squad, a team of assassins operating as a death squad to target Saudi critics inside and outside of Saudi Arabia. Among those arrested in a wave of detentions in September 2017 were Abdulaziz Al-Shubaili, a founding member of the Saudi Civil and Political Rights Association, Mustafa Al-Hassan, a university professor and novelist, and Essam Al-Zamal, an entrepreneur. Also, on the eve of the lifting of the ban on women driving in June 2018, 17 women's rights activists, including Lujain Al-Hatlul, a campaigner for women's driving and against male guardianship, were arrested, 8 of whom were subsequently released. Hatun Al-Fassi, an associate professor of women's history at King Saud University, was also arrested shortly thereafter. In August of that year, human rights activist Isra Al-Ghamgham and her husband, who were both arrested in 2015, faced the legal threat of beheading. Human Rights Watch warned that the Al-Ghamgham case would set a dangerous precedent for other female activists in detention. Sarah Leah Whitson, Middle East director at Human Rights Watch, stated, "Any execution is appalling, but seeking the death penalty for activists like Isra Al-Ghamgham, who are not even accused of violent behavior, is monstrous." Every day, the Saudi kingdom's arbitrariness makes it harder for public relations teams to spin fairy tales of reform to allies and international businesses. On April 23, 2019, 37 people, mostly Shia human rights activists involved in the Qatif conflict, were executed in one of the largest mass executions of this minority religious group in the history of the Saudi kingdom. In August 2019, Walid Lujan al-Hatlul's brother reported that his sister had been offered freedom in exchange for denying the human rights abuses committed against her in Saudi prison. Walid wrote on Twitter that Saudi state security made Lujan an offer to sign a document and appear on camera to deny that she was tortured and sexually abused in prison. He stated that Lujan had told her family that she was flogged, beaten, and put on an electric chair and harassed by masked men who would wake her up in the middle of the night to make threats in her cell. Walid also tweeted that Lujan rejected the Saudi authorities' offer and immediately tore up the document. In response to external criticism and women's rights activism, Mohammed bin Salman has implemented modest reforms to improve women's rights in Saudi Arabia. In September 2017, he acted on the decades-long demand of the women's driving movement and lifted the ban on women driving. He introduced laws against some elements of the Saudi male guardianship system, which was also the subject of decades of campaigning by women's rights activists. In response to the campaign against male guardianship, the Saudi government passed a law allowing women over the age of 21 to obtain passports and travel abroad without the permission of their male guardians. In February 2018, it became legally possible for Saudi women to open their own businesses without a man's permission. According to the Saudi Ministry of Information, by March 2018, mothers in Saudi Arabia were allowed to gain custody of their children after divorce without having to file any complaints. In February 2017, Saudi Arabia appointed the first woman to head the Tadawul Stock Exchange. Foreign relations. Relationship with Iran. Exporting the revolution and the 8-year war. Saudi-Iranian relations have been fraught with tension since the Iranian Islamic Revolution and its slogan of exporting the revolution to Arab regions. Regional support for Iraq during the 8-year war with Iran, followed by the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003, which some described as America's most valuable gift to Tehran, were among the factors that fueled these tensions. Mohammed bin Salman called the invasion one of America's two great mistakes in the region. Hezbollah in Lebanon. According to Mohammed bin Salman, Hezbollah in Lebanon is the arm of the supreme leader in Lebanon. The events of May 7, 2008, during which Hezbollah disrupted political life with a military march in Beirut, were perceived as Iranian interference in Arab countries' affairs. The reaction of Gulf states to Iran's military intervention in the Syrian civil war, as well as Saudi Arabia's military campaign in Bahrain to counter what was termed an Iranian attempt to overthrow the Bahraini monarchy, severely deteriorated relations between the two countries, elevating the conflict beyond the level of a proxy war. Yemen War. Since the formation of the Ansar Allah Houthi movement in Yemen, backed by Iran in September 2014, efforts began to control the situation in Yemen, described as an extension of the Arabian Peninsula. The international military intervention led by Saudi Arabia in Yemen in March 2015, aimed at preventing the expansion of Houthi influence, was Saudi Arabia's first direct military action to end Iranian interference in the Arab world. Mohammed bin Salman, who was then the Saudi Minister of Defense, oversaw Operation Decisive Storm against the Houthis in Yemen as the commander of the international coalition forces. Attack on Saudi embassy. At the beginning of 2016, Mohammed bin Salman exacerbated tensions in Saudi-Iranian relations by endorsing the execution of Sheikh Nimr Bakir al-Nimr, a Shia cleric. In response to this execution, forces supporting the Iranian government set fire to the Saudi embassy in Tehran. Following these events, diplomatic relations between the two countries were severed. After these events, a leaked report from the German Federal Intelligence Service, BND, was published in international media, describing Saudi Arabia's military policy led by Mohammed bin Salman against Iran as a hasty and impulsive interventionist policy. The report also noted that Riyadh had adopted a tougher stance against Iranian expansion in the region during King Salman's reign. Some observers saw Saudi Arabia's policy in this period as bolder and as signifying initiative and leadership in defending the Arab region without reliance on Western countries. According to Mohammad Javad Zarif, Iran's foreign minister, Saudi Arabia's new policy had become reckless. In Iran, the news of Mohammed bin Salman's appointment as deputy crown prince and then crown prince was also met with criticism, with one official newspaper interpreting it as a declaration of war against Iran in the region. Proxy war. On May 3, 2017, Mohammed bin Salman announced that there was no common ground with the Iranian regime. He said that while economic and political tools are used to solve problems with other countries, it is impossible to get along with a government that, in its constitution and Khomeini's will, emphasizes the need to dominate the world's Muslims and expand the Jafari and Twelver sects. He said their logic is that the Mahdi must pave the way for his emergence and take control of the Islamic world. He also claimed that the Iranian regime had deprived its people of development for more than 30 years to achieve its goals, and it is not possible to change this goal overnight, because its legitimacy within Iran would be lost. He also stated that Saudi Arabia had repeatedly tested this regime during Rafsanjani's time without success, and that they had similar experiences with Ahmadinejad in Iraq and Syria. He said that Saudi Arabia will not allow the war to be drawn inside Saudi Arabia, but will try to transfer it to Iran. Bin Salman said that Iran is not the greatest danger to Saudi Arabia, because the Iranian army is not among the 5 most powerful armies in the world, and Saudi Arabia's economy is larger than Iran's. He stressed that Iran does not equal Saudi Arabia, but at the same time said that Iran is the biggest enemy of the region. He described Iran's leader, Ali Khamenei, as the Hitler of the Middle East, for terrorism and expansionism in Arab countries, and said that a war between Saudi Arabia and Iran, if it happens, would be a great catastrophe, and that Iranian intervention in the region must be confronted at a global level. Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri, in a televised address broadcast from Riyadh on November 4, 2017, announced his resignation, citing fear of assassination and Iranian and Hezbollah intervention in Arab countries' affairs. However, Lebanese President Michel Aoun rejected his resignation. Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah accused Saudi Arabia of forcing Hariri to resign, but Hariri denied this accusation. Nuclear program. Mohammed bin Salman's efforts to warn about Iran's nuclear program escalated the conflict between the two countries to the international level. On March 16, 2018, in an interview with CBS, bin Salman threatened that if Iran produced a nuclear bomb, Saudi Arabia would turn its civilian nuclear program into a military one to produce nuclear weapons. JCPOA. On March 20, 2018, Mohammed bin Salman met with the U.S. President at the White House and criticized the Iran nuclear deal, JCPOA. On March 26, 2018, in an interview with the Washington Post, referring to the JCPOA, he called on the U.S. to enact laws to ensure that enriched uranium is not misused and also not allow Iran to conduct research and development of fuel by centrifuges. He said that Saudi Arabia has 5% of the world's uranium reserves, and if it does not use them, it is like not using oil. On March 28, 2018, in an interview with the New York Times, he called for the immediate cancellation of the Iran nuclear deal and its replacement with an agreement that would guarantee that Tehran would not acquire weapons of mass destruction. He said that Iran is seeking to build a nuclear weapon to prevent attacks on itself and also to expand its negative role in the region. He compared the JCPOA to the Munich Agreement, which historians consider the trigger for World War II, because it allowed Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler, to expand in Europe. On May 9, 2018, Trump withdrew from the JCPOA. According to observers, this decision by Trump was made after Mohammed bin Salman's long visit to the United States. Iranian officials accused Mohammed bin Salman of being behind Donald Trump's decision to cancel the nuclear deal and called his statements about Iran's development and sabotage projects in the region baseless claims. They called on the Saudi leadership to learn from the fate of their friend and ally, Saddam. Houthi. Attacks on Saudi Arabia. The U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal was accompanied by the start of conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia in Lebanon and Yemen. With Hezbollah's support, the Houthis began their attacks inside Saudi Arabia with Iranian drones. The attacks on Saudi Aramco facilities on September 14, 2019, were the biggest blow to Saudi Arabia, and the Houthis claimed responsibility for them. Both the U.S. and Saudi governments pointed to Iran's involvement in these attacks. A UN inspection team report said that the attacks were launched from the north, the direction of Iran. Qasem Soleimani, commander of the Quds Force, also praised the Houthis in a tweet, calling them a branch of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. On January 3, 2020, the U.S. carried out an attack against Qasem Soleimani, and he was killed near Baghdad International Airport. Negotiations in Iraq. The two countries started a series of negotiations under the supervision of Iraq, the first round of which began in Baghdad on April 9, 2021. Mohammed bin Salman said on April 27, 2021, that Iran is a neighboring country and that Saudi Arabia wants a good relationship with it. He also said that Saudi Arabia wants Iran to succeed, but the problem is with Tehran's negative behavior in the region, whether through its nuclear or missile program or through its support for rebel militias. He stressed that Saudi Arabia, along with its international partners, is trying to find a solution to these problems. Relationship with the U.S. The relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia began in 1940 and is described as a historical and strategic relationship. The alliance of the two countries since World War II has been against communism and for maintaining stable oil prices, securing oil fields and oil transport routes, as well as strengthening the stability of Western economies in which Saudis have made large investments. U.S.-Saudi relations under different administrations. The Obama years. According to observers, relations between the two countries faced significant diplomatic tensions during the Obama presidency, following secret negotiations between Washington and Tehran that led to the signing of the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Gulf countries accused Obama of seeking to improve U.S.-Iran relations at the expense of U.S.-Arab relations. The JCPOA drew widespread criticism from Arab Gulf states. Bandar bin Sultan believed that the JCPOA would allow Tehran to acquire nuclear weapons and further destabilize the Middle East. In an April 2016 interview with The Atlantic magazine, Obama stated that the issue of Saudi-U.S. relations was complex and that members of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, needed to share the Middle East with Iran. These remarks were interpreted as a green light for Tehran to act in the region without deterrence, leading to an unprecedented deterioration in U.S.-Saudi relations. The Trump era. Following the election of Donald Trump as U.S. president, who repeatedly stated his intention to confront Iran's expansion in the Middle East and to tear up the nuclear deal with Iran, relations between the two countries returned to a more normal state. Mohammed bin Salman, when he was deputy crown prince, was the first official to meet with Trump at the White House on March 14, 2017. This meeting was described as a historic turning point in the course of relations between the two countries. On May 4, 2017, Trump announced that Saudi Arabia would be his first foreign trip. His plane landed in Riyadh on May 20, 2017. He met with King Salman and witnessed the signing of agreements between American and Saudi parties called the Joint Strategic Vision Agreement, with investments totaling more than $400 billion. On March 20, 2018, Mohammed bin Salman, after becoming crown prince, returned to the White House to meet with Trump and urged Washington to immediately terminate the JCPOA. On May 9, 2018, Trump decided to withdraw the United States from the JCPOA and reinstate sanctions against Iran. Mohammed bin Salman developed a close relationship with Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, which was sometimes criticized in Washington for bypassing regular diplomatic channels. The Biden administration. Relations between Saudi Arabia and Joe Biden have been strained since his time as vice president under Obama. Biden had accused Saudi Arabia of supporting terrorism through training, arming, and financing, and compared the U.S.-Saudi relationship to the U.S. alliance with the Soviet Union during the Stalin era. In response to the question of why the U.S. should ally with Saudi Arabia, despite its human rights abuses, to fight ISIS, he had stated that the U.S. had been forced to ally with Stalin to defeat Nazi Germany, even though it knew he was a ruthless individual. These were remarks that Biden later retracted and apologized for. Relations between the two countries became severely strained with the signing of the JCPOA, which Biden had supported as part of the Obama administration. Saudi Arabia made no secret of its dissatisfaction with the agreement. Prince Bandar bin Sultan stated that the agreement would allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons and further destabilize the already precarious Middle East, where Iran had become a major destabilizing force. Simultaneous with this U.S.-Iran rapprochement, bin Salman traveled to Moscow and met with Putin, signing 6 strategic agreements, including one on the peaceful use of nuclear energy. Saudi newspapers wrote that this closeness between Russia and Saudi Arabia had come at the right time and that diversifying Saudi Arabia's alliances was inevitable, given recent U.S. actions in the region. With Donald Trump's rise to power and his withdrawal from the JCPOA, Joe Biden pledged during his presidential campaign to reverse the withdrawal decision and return to the agreement. He repeatedly described the withdrawal as a huge mistake. On November 20, 2019, during the 5th Democratic Party debate in Georgia, Biden said, in response to a question about whether he would impose sanctions on Saudi Arabia because of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, that he believed Khashoggi was killed on the orders of bin Salman. He explicitly stated that he was committed to stopping arms sales to Saudi Arabia, penalizing and isolating the country, and ending any cooperation between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Biden also called Saudi Arabia a country with no redeeming social value. Less than a month after Biden's inauguration as U.S. President, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki announced on February 16, 2021, that Biden intended to reevaluate the U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia and that he would communicate directly with King Salman bin Abdulaziz without bin Salman being present. In an interview with Univision that aired on February 27, 2021, Biden said, "I spoke with the king yesterday, not the crown prince, and I made it clear to him that the rules have changed and that Washington will announce major changes in U.S.-Saudi relations. We will hold them accountable for human rights abuses, and we will make sure that if they want to deal with us, they have to address those human rights abuses." Biden referred to the CIA report on the murder of Khashoggi, saying that the report existed but had not been released by the previous Trump administration. This call took place on February 26, 2021, the day Biden ordered the CIA to release its assessment of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. On July 6, 2021, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met several times in the U.S. with Prince Khalid bin Salman Al Saud, Saudi Arabia's Deputy Minister of Defense. On September 27, 2021, Biden dispatched Jake Sullivan to meet with Mohammed bin Salman. The Wall Street Journal claimed on April 19, 2022, that Prince Mohammed bin Salman, after shouting at the American official as soon as the Khashoggi affair was mentioned, had said he never wants to discuss the incident again. Otherwise, the United States should forget its demands for increased oil production. However, Adrienne Watson, the spokeswoman for the U.S. National Security Council, denied that oil production had been discussed with the prince and noted that the meeting did not involve any shouting. A Saudi media official working at the Saudi embassy in Washington also confirmed this. The White House wanted the Saudis to produce more crude oil to curb oil prices and weaken the financing of Moscow's war. However, Saudi Arabia, in line with Russian interests, did not change its position. Asterisk, Prince Mohammed bin Salman's statements and actions. Asterisk. In an interview with Asterisk, the Atlantic magazine, published on March 3, 2022, Prince bin Salman stated that he did not order the murder of Khashoggi and that the affair had caused him and Saudi Arabia distress. He said that Article 11 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and in this case, his rights had been violated. He added that he was not simply accusing the U.S. president of having a false image of him, saying, "It is up to him to think about what is in the best interests of the United States." The American agency Bloomberg, citing U.S. officials, reported that the Biden administration was reviewing the seriousness of the Saudi Crown Prince's statements to see if they were just words or a genuine shift in Saudi policy. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the U.S. president asked Saudi Arabia to increase its oil production, but Riyadh did not respond to these requests. The Wall Street Journal claimed on March 8, 2022, that the White House had tried to arrange calls between Biden, bin Salman, and Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed as part of Washington's efforts to curb oil prices. But without success, because the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi had refused to speak with the U.S. president. Simon Henderson, director of the Energy and Gulf Program at the Washington Institute, described their stance as unusual, saying, "It seems bin Salman and Mohammed bin Zayed are angry with Washington." However, Emily Horn, a spokeswoman for the National Security Council at the White House, stated that Henderson's remarks were not reflective of the truth. On March 15, 2022, the Wall Street Journal claimed that Saudi Arabia was negotiating with China to sell some of its oil products in Chinese yuan, which it described as another dramatic shift. This move could deal a severe blow to the dominance of the U.S. dollar in the global financial system. Saudi Arabia had repeatedly expressed its opposition to Biden's approach to the JCPOA and the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The dollar controls 80% of global oil sales, with an estimated value of about $2.6 trillion in 2022. This control dates back to 1974, when Saudi Arabia designated the dollar as the official currency for oil sales. This agreement, during the Nixon era, included security guarantees for the kingdom and helped solidify the U.S. dollar's global position as the dominant currency among global currency reserves. On April 19, 2022, the Wall Street Journal published a report titled, "How Did U.S.-Saudi Relations Reach This Point?" Following that, an unannounced visit by CIA Director William Burns to Saudi Arabia took place. He met with bin Salman away from the media to try and repair U.S.-Saudi relations and to discuss several areas, chief among which was the growing Saudi-China relationship in economic and military aspects. The Wall Street Journal published a report of this meeting on May 3, 2022. Social and charitable activities. Mohammed bin Salman has established a charitable foundation in his name called the Mohammed bin Salman Foundation, or MISC Foundation, of which he is the chairman of the board of directors. The foundation aims to support the development of emerging projects and encourage creativity in Saudi society. He also holds the following charitable positions: chairman of the board of directors of the Riyadh Schools Association, deputy and chairman of the executive committee of the King Salman Charitable Housing Association, chairman of the board of directors of the King Salman Youth Center, member of the board of trustees of the Bin Baz Charitable Foundation, member of the Supreme Coordinating Council of Charitable Associations in Riyadh, member of the board of directors of the Albir Society in Riyadh, first honorary president of the Saudi Management Association during the period 1435 AH 1437 AH, honorary member of the National Association for the Prevention of Drugs, honorary president of the Handicrafts Association, one of the founders of the Bin Baz Charitable Association for facilitating marriage and caring for families. Personal life. Mohammed bin Salman has 5 children with his only wife, 2 daughters, and 3 sons. Unlike many men in Saudi Arabia, he is monogamous and has stated this himself. Mohammed bin Salman is known for living a luxurious lifestyle. For example, he purchased an Italian-built yacht named Serene for $500 million from a Russian billionaire. He has made numerous trips to various parts of the world and met with politicians, business leaders, and celebrities. In June 2016, during a trip to Silicon Valley, he met with prominent U.S. tech figures such as Mark Zuckerberg. Mohammed bin Salman also purchased Leonardo da Vinci's painting, Salvator Mundi, which sold for a staggering $450 million in New York in November 2017.